Hello and welcome to another edition of The Advocate with Abkarian, where we talk to different politicians, sports figures, entertainers, and hopefully give you some information on a weekly basis. Today we have with us again Paula Devine, City Council Member Paula Devine from City of Glendale. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for coming in again. We love to have you. You're a regular guest in our show, and we always enjoy our discussions and our talks. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you.
City of Glendale, how's it going?
The city is in good hands, and we're in good shape. We're in good shape. You know, last time I was here, we were talking about Measure S.
Yeah.
And we were encouraging the voters to support that ballot measure, and thankfully they have done that, exactly that. And just this last Tuesday night, and the next time we meet, Council is going to be approving the budget. And in that budget for the Measure S funding, we are donating or funding $20 million to affordable housing. So I want to thank everybody that watched the show, that supported Measure S, and has put us on a pathway to more affordable housing.
And you know, I have to say that a large number of people who voted for Measure S are homeowners or property owners that actually contributed and accepted Measure S. So sometimes when people say, well, homeowners don't care, the property owners don't care, well, they were the ones who actually voted for Measure S to give, you know, low-income housing. That's
true. And you know, we tried to gather support by talking about quality of life issues, and we also promised that we were going to set up a specific fund just for the Measure S revenue. And we have done just that. And as a matter of fact, on Tuesday night, we had one citizen come to council and thank us for keeping our promise. And that's something that makes me really proud, is the fact that we said what we were going to do and we are keeping our promise.
It's very rare to actually get a thank you from a citizen coming in front of you for an oral communication. That's a rare beast.
But very welcome, very welcome, and
yes,
thankful for that.
Yeah, of course, of course. You have been in the council now for a while. We have new members. Virgil Rajanian is a newer member and is doing extremely good job. Vartan has been there. Vartan Garapet, young council member, has been doing a great job, and Zara and Ara have been there for a while now. How is the combination working out currently with everything in the city? The synergy between the council members.
The council. Well, it's different. You know, it's 4 men and 1 woman, so that puts it on a little different, gives a little different dynamic. But you know, we agree to disagree. Sometimes we have unanimous votes. We agree on everything, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes, you know, there's just an issue that that one of us or more than one of us don't agree with. But you know, that's the whole democratic system, to agree to disagree, but yet to look at all the different dynamics, the different points of view, different perceptions, and to make up our minds, make a decision that's based on what we each feel is the best for our community.
We were here at the ARTN TV station, which is what I love. This is a station that gives me opportunity to do this type of interviews and get some information out to the public. You know, I want to get some misconception or some misunderstandings. Arzach Street, dealing with the big elephant in the room, and I wanted to do that, and I want to give you an opportunity because I know there's been some misstatements out in the public that is just not true, knowing what you have gone through. And accordingly, I wanted to give you some opportunity to kind of clarify what happened in Arzach Street, how you feel about it, and where we are today.
Okay. Well, you know, that whole issue began at a genocide commemoration event where the United Young Armenians came on stage and said that they were going to have a street name change in Glendale, and I believe they mentioned Sanchez, to Arzach. And we were all the council members were kind of surprised. But a week or 2 later at council, I brought it forward. And I asked my fellow council members for, you know, a second on bringing that idea and, you know, staff recommendations on renaming a street in Glendale after an Armenian community, city, whatever they felt, the study felt was right. And so I was very proud of that, that I was the one that brought that forward, because I feel so strongly that that was the right thing to do. You know, I've done a lot of work in this community with the Armenian community. I respect them. I respect what they stand for. They have been absolutely a positive place, have a positive place in our community. So I was all for that. Now, when the study came back, and of course they had named Sanchez as their preference, Sanchez had no businesses on their street, and that was why it was selected. But when the staff report came back, it was revealed that there was a historic importance to that name. And so they recommended that we not rename Sanchez, maybe choose another, and they brought back alternatives. And Maryland was one of the alternatives. So of course, me, being me, I have to do my research and look at all the angles and talk to everybody that I can. Well, Maryland has 131 businesses on that street. Now, Glendale is known as you know, a business-friendly city. And after talking to a lot of people, listening to the Planning Commission said, you know, voted it down, did not approve the name change. I decided that I didn't have enough information, but I wanted to look at alternatives. And I was all for the Paseo, you know, Artsakh Paseo, Artsakh Boulevard, just a generic, but not to change the street name, and maybe look at alternatives. But as it turned out, there were no other alternatives that were brought forward. Well, that anybody was, you know, none of the council members said, yes, let's look at our alternatives. And so I really didn't feel I had the information that I needed to make the decision. And so I abstained. So I didn't vote for it or against it. In my point of view, I was all for a name change. That was a given. I just wanted to see more alternatives, because I didn't know at that time what the impact would be on 131 businesses. And that to me was a lot of businesses. So that was why I abstained.
You know, there was a lot of discussion. Of course, a lot of people were in favor of it. And you know, Armenians wanted an identity in the city, and I can't take that away from Unified Young Armenians. They wanted to bring something up which was something that I thought was positive at the time. The name is a little bit difficult to say. Yerevan would have been a whole lot easier. But at the same time, it was something positive. And because of your abstention, a whole bunch of discussion has come up that the only, you know, non-Armenian voted against an Artsakh.
Right.
And I think that was just not a proper characterization of what happened. And this is the reason I wanted you to come in here and explain yourself, not have a third party tell people how they feel about you, or have a third party say, this is what we're going to do to her, but have people hear from you directly as to how you felt about it. Yeah. And then once the name was changed, of course, you were at the opening and supported it and did everything you could and never ever objected to it. So how do you feel about Artsakh Street the way it is now?
Well, I think it's working out just fine. I think it's great. There are some small issues. I understand Google has Street Avenue or whatever, so there are issues with that, but I think it's great. I'm supportive of it. I go down there, I call it Artsakh Street, and it's worked out for the best. And I was always in support of a street, and if another one comes up, I would be in support of that as well. And it's funny because I talked to a lot of my Armenian friends, and they said, just like you did, well, why didn't they call it Yerevan or Armen or Armenia Street or something like that? And and those are good reasons, good thoughts. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for other alternatives. But as I say, I'm supportive of it now, and I think it's going to be, once we do all of the renovations, we're going to make it a beautiful street. I mean, the plans are in the works right now, and it's going to be fabulous.
Well, looking forward to it. Let's take a quick break, come back and talk some more about other issues in the city of Glendale.
Great.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. Again, we're here with Councilmember Paula Devine. I'm very good friends with your husband, Art Devine, and is a great commissioner and is a great friend, and value his opinion very much as well. Let's talk about affordable housing. It's always a problem in the city. People say, how come I'm not getting Section 8? How about there's not enough affordable housing? There are a number of issues. How do you address affordable housing besides the $20 million you set aside? How have you addressed the affordable housing in the city of Glendale as a council member?
Well, affordable housing is something that we are lacking in our city, and the way that we address it is to build more. So that's what we're planning on doing, and we have some exciting news, progress in the works, and that'll be coming in the next few months.
Tell us what that is. If it's, no, I'm talking about, tell us what it is if you can talk about it.
Well, it's more affordable housing. We're hoping, with the funding that we got from Measure S, we're planning on buying more property, finding property that we can develop, and provide more affordable housing. We're also, as far as tenants that are rent burdened, we're going to do the subsidy, and that's also coming out of the Measure S funding. There are going to be 1,000 families that are going to get $200 to $300 a month for a year to fill in that gap. That right to lease ordinance that we passed, that's to help people that are looking for Section 8 or are in Section, or that are not in Section 8 funding, that we can give assistance to, so that they can afford. And of course, there's always the if the rent goes up, if the landlord chooses to raise their rents more than 7%, then they get the relocation fees. So we're doing everything we can to make it possible for our residents to reside and stay in Glendale.
I wasn't in favor of the 7% cap. I'm never in favor of any cap, because I think that the market should decide what to do. But I understand the need for a control, because there were some landlords that would come in and all of a sudden in 1 year raise the rent by 20%, 25%.
Or they would raise or they would raise the rents many times during the year.
During the year, yes.
Yeah. So
which made no sense.
This still enables, even with that 7%, it still enables landlords that if they want to, they can raise the rents. They can raise them as much as they want, but knowing that they've got to help the people out, that they're just relocating, and so that they'll have an opportunity to find housing that they can afford.
Now, a week or so ago, the City Council passed a resolution that would actually add a fee that could only be used for low-income housing. The fee to developers.
The inclusionary housing.
Inclusionary
housing ordinance. Yes.
Right, and what that does is it will provide more low-income housing
it mandates,
and funding for it.
Yes, it mandates that a developer must put in a certain amount. I think it's 15% affordable housing in their number of units, and if they don't, then they will have to pay a fee that will then go into affordable housing fund.
Which could be substantial, depending on, because there's many builders in the city.
Right.
If they decide to provide low-income housing, then that provides additional housing. If they don't, then they put that in a fund, and that fund provides for low-income housing.
Correct. Correct.
Which is great.
Yeah, and then that goes into the fund where we buy land and develop, and so everything kind of results in more affordable housing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Excuse me. How do you see the city in 5 years?
Wow.
I know it's a loaded question.
Yes, it
but
is.
where do you see the city, where would you like to see the city be in 5 years, where you would say, I've achieved what I want to achieve this term, and I know you will get reelected, so next term?
Yeah, well, we're looking at the trolley. I'm hoping that in 5 years we can be moving towards light rail in our city, connectivity. We're getting the bus rapid transit. That's like the precursor to light rail. So perhaps in 5 years we can be moving towards that. I see our city as just continuing to be a vital, vibrant city. I've talked to so many people. I just talked to someone today who said when they were growing up here, it was such a quiet city, nothing going on, everything closed at 8 o'clock. And now we have theater, we have restaurants and shopping, and people are coming here, and I think that's going to continue. Our economic development department is working very hard to bring businesses here so that Glendale remains a destination. And so in 5 years, I see us thriving. I see us being a popular destination. I see a few more hotels. People can stay here, enjoy our city, and we're in a great location for all sorts of activities, Universal, Disney, everything. So that's what I see in our city.
How do you see, a lot of people talk about traffic now.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic on Brandon Central, avoided if you can from 9 until 5 is the word. How do you see us resolving the traffic issue in downtown Glendale, especially when there are more developments coming in?
Right. Well, the traffic, people say, well, if you want to see traffic, real traffic, either get on the freeway or go to West LA.
That's true.
I think in Glendale, the traffic isn't the best. I mean, we do have congestion. I'm still, and I will till the day I'm out of council, be advocating for one-way streets somewhere. I think if we get the trolley, that might help with traffic. And we're going to be doing work on the freeway entrances, exits in the near future. Hopefully that will stop some of the congestion. But as far as number of cars coming in, I think it's going to be kind of the same as we have right now. It's just, and then of course we have the museum coming. Wonderful, wonderful project. That's going to bring more people to our city. I think the most important thing is that we have parking for everybody, and these perhaps the lights, coordinated light, the stop lights and traffic lights, and all those things can help.
Well, it's great to hear that the city is in good hands, and hopefully when you get reelected next year, we'll continue to be in good hands.
Thank you.
As I support you and Vartan, and we'll see if there's a third seat or not. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being candid about all of the issues and discussing issues that are sometimes uncomfortable to discuss, but it was something that we needed to address. And look forward in having you again here next time.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for watching our show today. We will be back in the next few weeks, and we will have more guests, and we will let you know who the next guests are going to be. Thank you, and have a good day.